Okay, guys, it's been a minute. Welcome to another episode of Crypto Sense Podcast. This is your boy Carlton CO2 Owens. We're back with another show. Let's first dive into today's festivities. Let me tell you something. We have some stuff to talk about today. Let's first start out by first paying some bills and making sure we take care of our sponsors. CoinSeed. CoinSeed is an app of all apps that allows you to invest in cryptocurrency all while using your pocket change. You can skip all the drama and the stress of trying to figure out how to actually invest in cryptocurrency. Just link your debit or credit card right up to your app, and then as soon as you start swiping, you start putting away coins, nickels, dimes, quarters, pennies to your cryptocurrency portfolio. Let me tell you something. A little bit of crypto can go a long way, especially if you're long term about it. So make sure you go to the show notes, grab the link, and you'll be on your way to building your cryptocurrency empire. We also have encrypted apparel. Crypto apparel is the flyest cryptocurrency clothing line in the business. You can pop your tags with this particular brand and show your passion and your love for cryptocurrency in your fashion. Go over to wearencrypted.com. That's WEAR encrypted.com. There you'll be able to get all the information that you need to be able to get your jiggy on, get jiggy with it in my Will Smith persona. And of course, when you go there, make sure you add the coupon code Crypto Cents, all one word, CRYPTOCENTZ, and there you can get a nice discount on your next purchase. All right. We also have you guys. You guys are also sponsored the show. You may not think about yourself that way, but you are, because by you listening to the show and now watching the show, now that we have on YouTube, that shout out to all my folks that listen to podcasts. Come on over to YouTube and hit that like and subscribe button. But beyond that, you listen to the show week in, week out, year in, year out. We've been able to build up quite a nice following, over 60,000 listeners now, and we are so excited about adding to that. Hopefully YouTube will be able to catch steam, and we can get some good momentum building on this platform and carry it right on over. But you guys are sponsors. I just want to make that clear. Because you listen, we're able to get paying sponsors, but you now can be a paying sponsor by supporting the show with as little as $1. Then that dollar goes a long way. This is Crypto Cents. We take cents and dollars very seriously here, because we know that every little bit can add up and can make a difference. So for all my day ones out there that's already donated, already supported the show, thank you. For people that's on the fence, hey, if you can help us be able to, get some good high grade coffee as we do in our research, be able to go after, have more time to go after really cool, um, guests of the show. This is where the money's going to be best allocated. So that's basically it, guys. Let's get into today's show. Man, I just have so much to talk about. I actually invited on a young man that hopefully should be joining us sometime in the show, but I have some stuff that we got to talk about today. Have you guys heard about the NFT? It's something that's been going on for a, maybe about a year or so now, but really, really starting to catch on and catch some really steam. So if you haven't heard about what NFTs are, they're basically, it's an acronym for non-fungible, non-fungible tokens. Now, as you already know, token, as defined, is something that you're able to put on the blockchain, whether it be Ethereum or another independent blockchain, so you can be able to track transfers, you can be able to track ownership, you can be able to, have a long journey, if you will, of exactly what has happened with that coin from start all the way to finish, or start all the way to present would probably be the best way to say it. But this non-fungible thing is something that you don't hear in just regular common talk for just folks to say, "Oh, I just have some non-fungible stuff." It's actually a word that you don't hear much in just common layman's term. But me having a legal background, being an attorney by trade, fungible and non-fungibles are terms that I've learned about and I've used in practice of law and also just in law school, particularly when it comes to like property law. I think that's the first time I heard the term fungible versus non-fungible. So just as a refresher, because I want to first lay down a good baseline for what we're talking about, and then we're going to open up and really start having more dialogue about what I think what's is most exciting about this particular wave that's happening in cryptocurrency. So fungible are basically things you can be able to equally trade. So if I have this bottle of water, this is a fungible item because I can trade it for another bottle of water. If I have, a stapler, a regular stapler, I can trade it for another regular stapler. If I have, let's see, um, this is something that's fungible. If I have a $5 bill, I know I can trade or I can exchange it for other money or other equivalent that is $5. Okay, fungible things. Now, non-fungible things are a bit interesting. Non-fungible things are things that are so unique that there's nothing really that you can equally trade it with or you can equally compare it to. That's probably the best way I can think about explaining it. It'll be like a Michelangelo painting. It's a non-fungible thing. It's no way you can trade another Michelangelo or Da Vinci. You can't even trade a Michelangelo for a Da Vinci or a Da Vinci for a Michelangelo because although they are quote unquote masterpieces, are you know treasures, are works of art, they're uniquely they have a uniquely uh, special identifier that makes it different from anything else. So when you talk about fungible, which are things you can trade equally, to non-fungible things, which you can't really trade equally because they're so unique and they're like memorabilia or anything that is just very, very unique and different from anything else. When you talk about these things, you're now getting into the realm of quote unquote non-fungible things. So why is this important when it comes to cryptocurrency and what we're talking about today? Well, what's interesting is we already know that non-fungible things have very, how should I say it? They at times can have very extrinsic, intrinsic value to them, where the value of them is based on maybe something that's sentimental or something that is 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 valued as being something really great. It's almost like for me, it would be like Michael Jordan's first pair of Nike Air Jordans that he wore on his first game or his first game day, or the this jersey that he autographed when he won the 1992-1993 NBA championships. I mean, you're talking about something that is, to me, very, very valuable. But for somebody that doesn't play basketball, doesn't know who Michael Jordan is, it's just another jersey. It's just another pair of shoes. So the measure in which people value things is all based on what people are willing to pay for things and how sentimental, if you will, to what they think the value is. So that all being said, there's something that really stood out to me when I listened to something that Gary V started to talk about. He said, "Look, at the end of the day, NFTs. If you're upset about missing out, quote unquote, missing out on, um, and I'm paraphrasing here, missing out on the run up on Bitcoin, NFT is where you need to start focusing on." And the more and more I listen to Gary V talk about the rise of the NFT and why it's going to be so important in the future, people talking about NFTs now is almost similar to how people were talking about Bitcoin in 2012. it literally was a concept for most people that when people were talking about Bitcoin in 2012, it was a concept that just went straight over people's heads. It was something that it just didn't, they couldn't really actually grasp it. If you think about NFTs, it's almost to the same level of you really got to think outside the box to really get it and understand it. Now, this outside of the box thinking has with it this this mindset that you have to see into the future. So, for example, with Bitcoin, when people were talking about in 2012, there's going to be this digital currency, and it's going to be something that people are going to use on the internet, and it's going to be a way for people to transfer money. It's going to be the next, global currency and so forth. At that time, even in 2012, people were still trying to wrap their minds around putting in their credit card information in their Amazon accounts, or using their credit card to make payments online, yet alone figuring out, uh, thinking about a currency that's actually going to exist. And here we are, 12 years later, 10 years later, and this currency, Bitcoin, is here. It is exactly what people were talking about in 2011, 2012. So I just want you to put your tinfoil cap on just for 1 second. And I want you to go with me in a future world, so we can be able to pin value and the potential value of NFT on something that actually doesn't exist at this moment in time. And and going back to what Gary said, and I want you to ask this question as we paint this picture of this new world for NFTs. How often, how many hours of the day do you spend on your phone? How many hours of the day or minutes of the day do you look at your phone? Think about that. I'll wait. If you're like me, it's probably almost every every other 10 minutes, every other 15 minutes, I'm looking at my phone, doing something on my phone. So in actuality, let's just be conservative here. Let's say it's 6 hours a day. You, in some form or fashion, are looking down at your phone, doing something on your phone. So if you think about it, and this is just me piggybacking on what Gary Vee said, if you think about it, the phone, our phone is is actually a extension, if you will, or a precursor to virtual reality. And this idea that if we're spending 6 hours on our phones, that someday in this new reality that we don't know anything about now, someday we're going to spend the majority of our time in some type of virtual, some type of digital world where we're able to step out of our physical realities and step more into our digital realities by way of the phone or by way of some other mechanism that we'll be using to be able to cross over to that virtual world. Now, I painted the picture of what that world would look like, a virtual reality world. So if everything is going to be quote unquote in virtual reality, that means that all of our time and attention and all our focus is going to be on things that are digital, whether it's visual, whether it's some software, whether it's some type of use case. Everything that we're talking about here in this digital world or this virtual world is somehow, some way going to tap into some type of digital element of our lives. So that all being said, the best way I can envision how NFTs could very well be the next Bitcoin is that these NFTs are going to be issued and they're going to represent digital properties that are going to be all over the internet. And with everybody being on the internet, with everyone being in this virtual reality world, those digital properties, those digital things that we now know as NFTs, these non-fungible tokens that represent very unique items that are digitally in the internet or in the internet world, we'll just say it that way, are going to become very valuable because there's going to be so much time, energy, and attention placed on them. Simply because everybody's going to be in in some form of fashion in some type of virtual reality. Whether that virtual reality is 100%, whether it's 50%, whatever it may be, it's going to be a virtual reality. So if you think about it that way, NFTs could very well be the next Bitcoin. Could very well be even potentially maybe even bigger than Bitcoin. And let me tell you why I think it could be bigger than Bitcoin. Because if you think about, I was reading an article and I got to pull it up for you guys. I put a link in the show notes where a gentleman bought a LeBron James NFT with him doing some type, I think it was like a 10-second highlight clip. Now he spent $208,000 for this clip. Now a lot of people say, why in the world would he spend $200,000 for a clip that I could pay zero amount of money on and watch the same clip on YouTube for free? You may ask that question, at least I did. But the reality is two things. One is he paid $200,000 for this thing, and it is being defined as a digital asset, which means that very thing holds value. Okay. Number two, um, number two, the 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 notion that you can watch something for free that someone has paid for is maybe the reality right now. It may be the reality right now that that is the case, but in actuality, you may not be paying with money, but you're paying with your time and attention. Thus, information is being collected from you, and that information, your data, is actually the thing that is most valuable. But that's another show. But if you think about it, could you imagine a world where, yeah, the internet's for free, but you're not going to be able to get, you or someone's going to have to pay to be able to have these digital properties on the internet for you or someone else to be able to watch, or you or somebody else to be able to consume or engage in. So um, this is the potential reality of NFTs. Now, I was having a conversation with my homeboy Pierre, and we were talking about it, and I was telling him that I think there's probably three areas in the NFT world that could really, really take off, just based on just practical, straightforward um, perspective. One of those areas would be somewhere in music and entertainment. Could you imagine someone having an NFT over a digital property, which is actually music, that, as we see already, has already been monetized, but it allows for the artist to have the NFT over their own music, and then they're able to then have more rights and controls over licensings and where those things could be. They can enforce this IP type of stuff, intellectual property values, and so forth. So I think definitely the music. Secondly, would be some type of digital art, because a why do the next great piece of physical art, okay, and somebody has to come to the art in order to experience the art, in order to see the art physically. Imagine you're going to have new superstars in the art world that are actually going to be able to start creating digital art that they could then own the IP on. It can't be counterfeited like a lot of the physical art. It can't be, it can't be any type of fraud to show, okay, well, this person owns this or they sold it. No, 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 no. Everything is going to be on the blockchain, and that artist can then put their work of art into some type of trading platform to be able to buy and sell it, or they can license. They can actually license that artwork, to people who want to have that virtual reality piece of art in their home, or see it on their computer screen, or cover art. It's so many different applications. So definitely art, definitely definitely music, and then the last thing would be hmm, I think those are the two majors, and then the last thing would be something in gaming. Gaming is still something I haven't really spent too much time in learning, but I think something in gaming is also going to be um, s- uh, an area where you're going to see NFT grows. So I'm going to continue to learn more about NFT. I'm going to continue to report some new platforms. We're probably going to talk about some of the current platforms right now, but I'm telling you now, this stuff is so high level, so much more high level probably than I've talked about, especially from the technology side, in a very, very long time. I haven't really touched anything that is this high level, but I see the potential of it. I see where it could potentially go, but it takes a lot of imagination and a lot of future thinking in order to really see the play right now. So if you're willing to take that ride with me, take that journey with me, hop on the train. We're gonna ride. We're gonna figure this thing out together. I'm gonna, continue to do some research on the NFT stuff, and let's just pick this thing back up, guys. If you're listening to me on the podcast, make sure you come over to YouTube, click that thumbs up, and subscribe. If you're listening to me on YouTube, go over to my podcast and also subscribe and write a review. I would really appreciate it. All right. So we're gonna get this young man. There's a young man that I'm gonna have on the show that is doing some major things in NFT. I'm gonna get him on. He's probably gonna be the next interview, and we're gonna really chop it up and really try to understand this whole thing and what he's doing in the space. Okay. So that's it, guys. So until next time, holla back.